In today's video, I will be giving my recommendation for the top 5 budget PC cases that you can buy for under £60 here in the UK. So yes, this video basically we're going to go through the top 5 cases with the 5th one being my top recommendation, so make sure you stick around to the end of the video for that. Now, for this requirement, it's basically you can have a micro ATX or an ATX case. Any one is fine. They're all going to be listings from Amazon, and basically they have to be £60 or under. That's the requirement basically. So I picked out 5 cases and we'll just go through them one by one, and I'll talk about their features. Some of them I've actually done in previous videos where I've looked at them, so I'll obviously link them in the top right hand corner as we go. And yeah, let's just crack on. So the first case is the HellCrack Midi, which is like basically, I mean, I've not actually heard of this brand very much, but I have seen 1 or 2 sort of videos from other YouTubers do this sort of case, and it would be a case that I potentially might look at in the future as well. It's only £40 and it's a full ATX case with 3 fans at the front but no fan at the rear, and all 3 fans are actually RGB, which is nice. So that's a very cheap case, especially including with the fans. For only £40, I mean that's very, very cheap. It's full ATX as well, so you can put micro ATX in there or even ITX in there as well as the full ATX. And it's got a little bit of sort of perforation at the front, so a little bit of mesh at the front, which is obviously nice for airflow. It's, you know, not too bad looking. For a budget case, I think it kind of ticks the boxes that you want. It does have the power supply shroud as well, which is nice addition as well. Cable management space in the back looks a little bit tight, but I think there would be enough room. But yeah, I think that's the first one, so let's move on. And the second case is the MSI Magforge M100R. Now this is a case which is a micro ATX case, and it's £55 on Amazon UK currently. So I actually have looked at this case as well, and I'll leave the link in the top right hand corner as I said. So I do think this is a really nice case actually. It does have 4 RGB fans, and it does actually have the RGB control at the back as well, which is a nice addition. So 4 120mm fans, 3 at the front and the 1 at the rear. As I said, all 4 fans are RGB. Has decent cable management space. I would like it to be a little bit bigger, but there's enough. It does have the PSU shroud, although the PSU shroud you can see the power supply through the little power supply window, which I don't love, but it's okay. You know, it does the job. Personally, I like to see a full PSU shroud which is fully blacked out and fully covered, but it is what it is. Again, only micro ATX for this one as well, so you know, it is a bit limited in terms of if you want to obviously go with an ATX board, you will have to go with a different case. But I think for £55, it is good value, and overall, I'd say, yeah, a good recommendation. So, number 3 now. Number 3 is the CiT Saturn, which is a micro ATX case. This actually comes with 3 fans at the front as well, 3 RGB fans. Although I don't think it comes with the back fan either. Let me just check. Sorry, it does come with 4 RGB fans, I stand corrected, and it does have 1 at the back with 3 at the front. And for only £45, that's actually really good value. This is only micro ATX again, so obviously if you go in ATX, you won't have, you know, you'll have to choose a different case. But again, £45, decent case. It does have the power supply shroud again. It is one of those power supply shrouds with the window again, which I don't love, but again, it's okay. If you're using a very cheap power supply, you might want to get a different case, but most people probably going to be fine with this. It's not going to show too much, so it's okay. I don't really know too much about this case, if I'm honest, in terms of cable management space and how everything else kind of is set up. Also as well, in terms of graphics card size, I think it's probably about 300mm, so it might be a little bit limiting. But this is my 3rd recommendation. Let's move on to number 4 now. And the 4th recommendation is the iONz KZ10 or KZ10, and this is, I think it's the KZ10B Classic. Well, I'll put it below just to make sure in case I have put that wrong. But for only £43 for a full ATX case, this is a case that comes with 3 fans at the front as well as 1 case fan at the back as well, all RGB. Now I think they might only be Molex though, so that might be a little bit of the problem in terms of why it's so cheap, obviously, because I think this sort of case, without having a RGB controller at the back for that price, you know, it is very cheap. So most likely I don't think it does have an RGB controller at the back, because they've obviously skimped on the actual fans themselves. But overall, if you want a bog standard case, you know, with obviously the power supply shroud, which again is windowed as well, you know, which has some decent cable management space, and you know, it's going to be a decent budget case for obviously flips, because I think for most people buying these budget cases, they're either going to buy it for themselves, potentially if they really want to save money, but more than likely you're probably going to be looking at these cases to flip, or you know, to make profit on, to actually build your PCs and make profit on. So yeah, I do think this is again a really nice case. Now let's move on to the fifth and my top recommendation. So the fifth one is the MSI MagForge 100M. Now this is a bit different to the 100R. The 100R is a little bit more expensive at the moment, but the 100M is basically the same case. It just doesn't have the ARGB fans, it only has the standard RGB fans. But there is an RGB controller at the back as well, so you actually won't need to connect this to motherboard, which is again a nice feature. It just connects in with the SATA power cable, like I think most of the other RGB controller ones on that I've talked about, are the other cases I've talked about that actually have the SATA connection as well. Now in this case it's two RGB case fans at the front, which I believe are 120mm, and then a 120mm black fan at the back. So only two RGB fans, but again, for £45 for a full ATX case, this is really good. The really good feature about this case is that the cable management is superb in this case, and there's plenty of room for cable management. So I think you can get about, I think it's 2 centimeters of clearance there, or nearly an inch of clearance at the back, which is more than enough for even the big power supply cables that you might have, like your 24 pin. So yeah, I do think the 100M is a very good case. I think also the styling is good. This is tempered glass as well. I didn't say that with the other cases, but all the other cases are tempered glass as well at the front. This also has mesh at the front as well, so again, airflow wise you're going to be fine. And like I said, I do think the styling is quite nice. It's a full PSU shroud as well, so no window on the PSU shroud. The tempered glass is a little bit smaller in terms of it's not a full tempered glass, it's only up to the power supply shroud, so it is a little bit smaller than other cases, but again I don't think this really matters. And I do think overall you are getting a superb case, and that price of £45 really is tempting, especially if you're a PC flipper, because I think people really think this is a really, like, you know, sort of like good mid-range PC that you're selling, and it, you know, if you're putting in some more budget parts, it's just going to up the value of that build, I think, by putting the parts in this PC, in this case. So yeah, I do think that's my top recommendation for the best budget case that I can find for under £60 on Amazon UK currently. If you have any other recommendations, please let me know. Maybe you want me to look at potentially other sort of things like this, like the top 5 sort of mid-range PC cases, like £60 to £80. That's something I could do as well. I might look at the motherboards, the top 5 motherboards, like budget motherboards you get, put potentially even graphics cards and anything like that. So if you have any other recommendations, or you have any video ideas that you want me to go through, or thoughts, obviously let me know in the comments below. And I hope you like this video, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.